Welcome, everybody, to another version of Ask a CEO. I'm Greg Demetrio, the CEO of Lorraine Gregory Communications, an integrated marketing company here in Long Island. Today, we have Jennifer Marks, who is the managing director of the JP Morgan Private Bank team on Long Island. A very seasoned executive. She's going to impart to us what a private bank is all about, and why should we know that? She'll tell us, right? So she's been with JP Morgan since 2006. She holds a seat on the U.S. Advisory Board of JP Morgan. She's a Long Island community girl. She's very active in the Viscardi School. She's an invited member of Energia Partnership, which is a group of executives impacting the life on Long Island. And she also co-chairs the UJA Family Fundraising Committee. Welcome to the show, Jennifer.
Thank you for having me.
You're quite welcome. It's always our pleasure to talk to key executives in major corporations and so forth.
Likewise.
So maybe you could tell us a little bit about your background and how you wound up at JP Morgan Private Bank.
Sure. So it's nice to be here, but I, like you said, grew up on Long Island and went to Cornell University following high school graduation, and then joined JP Morgan right out of undergrad. So I probably unusual to most other people who are like me, where I've been at JP Morgan my whole career.
That's old school.
I know. And I could go into why, but honestly, it's been a really great place for me to grow and learn. But really, when I started, I had always had an interest in private banking. I think in many ways it's growing up on Long Island and being around really influential and affluent families. But what drew me to the private bank was the culture. It felt like a very natural progression post-college. Everyone who stayed late were all the analysts, the young people working hard, very collegial, and everyone was smart. Everyone pushed each other, and so I've just learned a ton being there. So after I finished my analyst stint, if you will, which is your tutelage in finance, I then grew up and spent most of my career on the investment side. So working with public CEOs, executives around what was going on in the market. I lived through 2008. I lived through...
Well, maybe you could tell us what a private bank is and what they do. I mean, that would be a natural segue to what you just said.
So many people think of the wealth management industry as people who help individuals with their finances and investing. And that's in part a lot of what we do, but most of it is that our clients have wealth that will often outlive them. They're the people that are influential in the community, that are philanthropic, and so our job is to customize solutions, plans, and help them think through, where do I want my money to go? Do I need this money to live off of? And how is it best structured? Is it things like trusts? How do I help my children think through wealth and opportunities ahead? So it's really a very customized personal approach to wealth management for the wealthiest families across the globe.
So your private bank is growing. Apparently you guys have just opened an office in Greenville as part of an expansion. Maybe you could tell us about that. You got some nice press coverage on that, by the way.
Yes, thank you. So we are looking where our clients are, and there are over 55,000 households on Long Island with over $10 million in net worth. Clients, and I think families, like to work with people they know. They want to be local, and I don't know if it's 100% because of COVID. We were planning to do this pre-pandemic, but we did just open an office in Greenville, thinking again, where do our clients live, work, shop? And we like being in the community, and thought that that was a great place for us to build our presence.
Interesting. Yeah, very, very, very interesting. It's a pretty nice little neighborhood that Greenville is up there.
Yeah.
So you went to the marketplace, right? So tell me, you're the team leader. What does that mean?
So it's my job to help set the strategy for the team. Think through, how do we grow as a business? What are the things that we want to talk to our clients about? How do we make it so that every client is hearing our best ideas across all disciplines, but in a meaningful way for each of them? It means I'm thinking about how do we hire new people, which we're doing. How do we get out in the community, which is super important, and that we're staying current with what's happening in the world. And then I'm also the direct line to our management team to tell them and hear from them around what opportunities and focuses we want to think about as a firm.
So as a team leader, how do you handle the culture?
It's a great question, and I think the office is a big part of that. And so we just opened in March. Prior to that, we didn't have a home base for everyone. Being in office is actually very important for us, and is a way for people to have lunch together, get to know each other in a scheduled way. I think for us, it starts every single day. We all get together at 8 a.m. We have a markets discussion, and then we debrief about it.
So you're all back in the office now? Mm-hmm. Oh, that's great.
Not every day, but
Yeah,
largely.
Largely, yeah. We've done the same here because you lose the personality of the company when everybody's not there. So I encourage as many people as can do that. They should do it, I think. I think it's a good way to work. It's a good way to build a team rather than everybody being remote. Zoom is like played out, and nobody wants to use Zoom anymore.
Very much, as I'm sure it is in yours, it's an apprenticeship business. And so while I've been in markets for 16 years, not everyone has. And so being able to lend insights around what others have learned really adds value for all of our clients.
So tell me about your community involvement. I see the Viscardi School I love. Energy is a big deal. And the UJA, again, you're a major fundraiser for them. Tell us why that's important to you.
Sure. And so I would say, look, I've started to get engaged in different organizations, most recently also Sunrise, Day Camp. And for me, it's been about, energy has been amazing in understanding the things that go on across Long Island, where there are opportunities for us to play a role. Not everyone is an affluent family across Long Island, and what are the things that we can do to drive impact. And then it's around, for me personally, I'm a mom with 2 little boys, and I want to think about ways, if I'm not at work, I'm not with them, what are the things we can do collectively? So I'm very sensitive to kids and issues that affect them. And so Viscardi was an opportunity for me to think about, frankly, like I'm lucky, but also how can I give back?
You're blessed. Yeah.
And then for Sunrise, which affects young children with cancer, camp being a really important part of my life, it felt natural to get involved there.
So you've been at the bank since 2006, and you're going up through the ranks. What was the biggest challenge you faced, and how did you overcome it in your growth?
Look, I think one of the biggest challenges that continues to be a challenge is being a working mom and trying to fit everything in a day, in a week, in a year. And so it's been an interesting balance, if you even want to say that word. I think it's more about integration than balance. And just making sure that, when people ask you questions like, are you going to come back to work? You don't lose your cool, and that you incorporate it. It's part of who I am. It's part of why I think clients and I get together. We relate to people's kids are generally the most important things to them, and that's important to me as well. I think it's hard. I think there's a lot that is demanded of you as a professional and then as a mom, and you always have to figure out, where am I going to spend my time?
Exactly. It's a tough task, I know. My wife is vice president here, and we don't have any little ones, but we do have grandchildren.
But you
so
did at some point.
The balance is the same,
Yeah.
right? So, okay, so without keeping you here all day long, because you're a seasoned executive, what advice would you give a junior executive on the way to the corner office?
So I would say 2 things. One is you can never fake passion or interest. So you really should find the thing that's interesting to you and that you like. It's okay to find the things that you don't like, but it's never going to just click unless you really feel it inside. And then the other thing is enjoy your Sundays. I always stressed about being back from a long weekend, getting ready for Monday, and not that that's not important, but I definitely missed half of the weekend worrying. So enjoy your Sundays and find things that you're passionate about. That's where you'll be most successful.
So Jennifer, thank you for being on the show. We
Thank
really
you.
appreciate the time out of your busy day. So that's a wrap for the Ask the CEO show today with Jennifer Marks from JP Morgan Private Bank. We have a lineup of great CEOs and executives coming on the next shows. So if you liked what we heard today or any of our previous versions, subscribe, like, and share as much as you can. Thank you so much, and God bless you all.